For this one, there's no better opener than...
All right, Mr. DeMille, I'm ready for my close-up.
Ready for my close-up, Mr. DeMille. A failing screenwriter, Joe Gillis, played by William Holden, needs quick cash or he'll lose his car. An aging actress, Norma Desmond, played by Gloria Swanson, has already seen her glory days in the silent era of film. She lives in a destitute old Hollywood mansion on Sunset Boulevard. She's a relic of a bygone era, still clinging desperately to the past. She is narcissism personified. Norma hires Joe to rewrite her comeback picture, which she hopes will reunite her with director Cecil B. DeMille. Joe works on the screenplay while living in her mansion of terrors. She adorns him with expensive suits and jewelry. Joe is devoured by her. The movie was released by Paramount Pictures in 1950, directed and co-written by the formidable Billy Wilder. Wilder, no stranger to a masterpiece, Sunset being just one of them for the history books. Sunset takes place in the era that it was made. The generation of 1950s moviegoers were treated to the screenplay's clever references of Daryl Zanuck, Alan Ladd, Tyrone Power, Betty Hutton. But its subtext is the shift between the silent era of movies, when stars like Norma Desmond were adored, and the talkies, in other words, movies with dialogue, when silent stars were all but forgotten about. But today, the greatest stars of the 50s are also delegated to history. Sunset Boulevard captures a piece of time. It shows us the dangers of nostalgia. Joe Gillis teams up with an ambitious young screenwriter, Betty Schaefer, played by Nancy Olson. She kind of reminds him of his own ambition when he first got to town. Joe has been turning in phoned-in formulaic scripts, but Betty inspires in him something greater. Norma is the past, Betty the future. Joe battles with his own artistry when he labors over Norma's terrible epic and works late hours with Betty on a personal screenplay. This remains the dilemma of the artist, for love or money. That goes doubles for the movie business, where each picture can cost a small fortune. I'm sure Wilder struggled with this. You don't get to be a big Hollywood player without having to turn a profit. So too did the other major Hollywood directors who are in this film. Cecil B. DeMille, who plays himself. Notably, DeMille was able to make the transition from the silent era to the talkies. Others weren't so fortunate. In this film, there's also Erik von Stroheim, who plays the caretaker aiding Norma in her delusion. There's also the likes of Buster Keaton, who we meet briefly at Norma's house and who ironically speaks. Luckily, Keaton's films have been rediscovered by fans in later years. This is a film about brash realities, told with poetry and a screenplay that never lets up. Gloria Swanson, herself a former silent star, turns in a performance as animated as Charlie Chaplin. In spite of words, silent stars were extra dramatic to punctuate their emotions. It's as if Norma possesses that flair for the dramatic in her real life, as if she's become her characters. It's ridiculousness disguising great pain. This is a movie about the pain of not being recognized and of being passed by in the city of angels. Norma and Joe share this feeling, each coping in their own ways. So finally, I point your attention to the opening credits. It would have been easy to open on the famous and luxurious street signs of Sunset Boulevard. Instead, Wilder and his writers choose the gutters. It's the world this movie ultimately takes place in. Not in the dream, but the delusion.